Promises, 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 and more broken promises. Let's talk about it. Roll it. Welcome back to another video. My name is Nikos Rentas. This is MentorsApproach.com. If this is your first time here, hit that like button at the end of the video. If you like what you've seen, of course, hit the subscribe button to get your daily motivational idea to get you moving in the right direction. Broken promises, they're becoming more of a thing. And it's one of those questions I get a lot. Why did they break the promises they made for me? Why did they break my trust? Why? It's something that's becoming more and more, I believe. No, or is it? Leave your comment below if you've realized an increase in broken promises and maybe your opinion of the why. Now, we can go into many details about promises, but I'm going to keep this video short as I'm going to create a series out of it, and I'm going to focus on a few things today, and namely promises, the expectation, and then the trust, and what happens in that series of events when a promise is made and a promise is broken. Why do I do this? Well, it's that idea where people, as they get older, they realize that people are gonna promise something, but then they won't necessarily ever keep it. And in our minds, I believe that, we really haven't changed human nature-wise. I think people always made promises and they always broke them. I think we're just seeing them more often because of social media, and we're seeing that the opportunities to be called out on the broken promises is more, easier to be seen, especially with social media. We also see people complaining about other people who have broken trust. They've broken the promise they made, and people will post it more often. So we're seeing a lot of more reality of what's been happening. So what do I really want to touch up on through this video? Well, let's look at a promise. A promise is made. Somebody says, I will do this for you. And they then build this expectation, and the expectation we have increases drastically, and it keeps increasing as a person makes promises and keeps the promises. And what's funny is that this expectation builds a level of trust. So as a relationship gets stronger and stronger, it's becoming stronger because trust is building, because people are keeping their promises, and the expectation, you're not being disappointed on it. You're creating that expectation is there. So what actually occurs when a promise isn't fulfilled? Well, your expectation drops, you're disappointed, and because it drops, well, now your trust level goes down, and because of all that, respect value goes down. People are forgiving, and people are accommodating. They understand. They go through scenarios, and they look at the scenario, and because they've built a trust value through the relationship, they give you the benefit of the doubt. But eventually, as that expectation keeps dropping, the trust level keeps dropping, the respect value starts dropping. And when there's no respect, there is no love. Doesn't matter what relationship, what type of relationship you're in, from family to friends to your intimate to your colleagues, it does not matter. No respect, no love, and then the relationship starts to tarnish, and then we are left wondering why. If we look at patterns and we follow the patterns, we can effectively see how relationships change and how we react to relationships changing, and we can effectively go through this route. Now, there are promises that you don't expect people to break, and they're really big promises, kind of like in a relationship when somebody cheats on you. The expectation is that they don't. The promise of you being in an exclusive relationship, it means, hey, I'm not going to cheat on you, and then all of a sudden the cheating takes place. The expectation is just, well, it's a devastation, so that expectation is just ruin of what you expect from the individual, and then all of a sudden we're looking at it from a perspective of no trust, no respect, no love, pure pain inside. Communication is critical, and if we're not communicating with the other person, well, then we are having this issue of expectation fluctuating, the expectation dropping, the relationship's starting to tarnish because that respect value goes down, as the trust value goes down, and then all of a sudden the relationship starts to ruin. The other person's left wondering why. And a lot of the times, people will make promises and they're not communicating that level of expectation. And this is critical to know. Communication is a two-way street. And when somebody promises me something, I expect them to live up to that promise. I also expect them to communicate what that promise entails. And if they're not going to live up to it, then I want to know in advance. And that's where my expectation is set. And I think that's where most of us is set. However, the big issues happen when the expectation is not set with very, very fine, detailed communication. And then all of a sudden, the person doesn't live up to your expectation, and voila, nothing occurs but pain. The example of this is the business guys that still think that it's a handshake world and people, respect and value each other. And when they handshake that business deal, that transaction, they don't need to do paperwork. And then they hurt themselves. They go on thinking that, hey, it's okay, but eventually it will bite them, and it doesn't feel good. Now, in some cases, you will find people that are handshake people, but usually they're not. And I see it every day, and I see the disappointment in people's faces every day, and I see the end result every day. And the sad thing is, certain people will never change from that mindset. They come out trusting a little bit too easy. Now, all this happens because we live in a world where opportunities are way more than they used to be. We have way more opportunities, and this is what's really a defining factor in many cases of people breaking promises. You make a promise with somebody, and maybe it's a handshake deal, or maybe you get a relationship with somebody, and yeah, you commit the world to them, but then time goes by and you have all these opportunities with other businesses that you can work with other people, or in relationships standpoint, you meet somebody new rather more easy because of social media, because of the online world, and then you're kind of like, well, my attractiveness level just changed. I don't want to be in this. I'm not really committed. Bye-bye. And you jump boat and you go to the next person, and the other person is left there going, what just happened? I want to just emphasize the idea behind understanding observation is critical. We need to really be observing what is occurring with our relationships, and we need to understand that how promises are being made, what the expectation value is, and really communicating that. Because once we start communicating that, we're able to really have more trustworthy relationships. Once the it's kind of like going into a restaurant and you're expecting, certain quality of food based on where you're going, and when they drop the ball in that expectation, that relationship between you and the restaurant it's kind of ruined. And it's the same thing with people and when people make promises. And this is why we need to be very clear with intent on what is occurring with the promises we're making, the promises are being made to us, and how we make sure that that communication lives up to that expectation. It's on an equivalent basis so that we can maintain that level of trust, level of respect, and of course, that level of love. Because once the respect is gone, the love is gone, and we want to be doing all this stuff before we get to that stage. And in fact, we want to be able to really take care of everything before that happens, before the love is gone. And the best way to do this is to actually look at what is occurring, how is it occurring, and how we can make the changes to really implement a stronger relationship once again to get moving in the right direction. My name is Nikos Rentas. This is MentorsApproach.com. Hit that like button if you like what you see. Of course, hit the subscribe button to get your daily motivational idea to get you moving in the right direction. And leave your story below. Leave your comment. Because who knows, somebody might be reading it and somebody might make the changes you made, and you might help change a life.